The Detroit Pistons defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 128 to 106. The headline coming into this game was LeBron James turning 41. He turned 41 during this game, and it's shocking to believe that LeBron's still playing right now. I'm not going to say at a high level in the sense because I think he's a stat patter and his scoring really distorts how much he's really fallen off the last several years. But I had to be honest, 10 years ago, if you told me LeBron would still be playing at the age of 41, I wouldn't believe you. But here we are. We're still stuck with this guy. And I don't know when the end is near, but as long as he can pad his numbers, we're going to have to deal with him. But that doesn't not expose him from being old. I felt in this game, Cade Cunningham definitely exposed him as being this old man, that he really looked old in this game. You can see in the stats, but going back to this game, the Pistons were going back and forth with the Lakers in the fourth. I meant to say in the first quarter of this game. When I tuned in, I didn't see the first 5 minutes, but the score was 14-13 when I tuned in. The reason I couldn't see the first 5 minutes of this game because the previous game on NBC went over the allotted time due to the overtime the Sixers and Grizzlies went into. So I only got to see the score was 14-13. It was competitive in that first quarter, but I really felt in the second quarter the Pistons showed why they are the better team. That they went up by 10 or 11 points at one point in time, and they just controlled the game. You kind of knew the Pistons were going to win in the second quarter, granted early, but just the way they controlled the game, how they were just the better team, how when they pushed the pace, the Lakers couldn't keep up. Also, when their defense was keyed in, that the Lakers had a difficult time scoring. That was very evident. It was very obvious. I think the biggest thing in this game for the Pistons was that they showed at times that they're a young team. They could have put away the Lakers earlier in the game in the second quarter when they were up by 10 or 11, but they played around and allowed the Lakers to hang in there and cut the lead down to, I think it was about 5 points. Like the score at halftime was 70-65. Pistons should have been up by 20. If they were a veteran team, they probably would have been, but they're still a young team. They're going to learn how to eventually put away teams like the Lakers very quickly instead of dragging it out for like 3 quarters like they did in this game. But there was just nothing the Lakers could do when Cade Cunningham was pushing the tempo, when he was speeding up the game. He was able to get into the paint and get whatever he wanted, an easy bucket, or he was able to create opportunities for his teammates. He was great in doing that. Like he definitely showed he was the best player in this game. There's just no doubt about it. But I would also say the Pistons' defensive intensity was so much better than the Lakers that they're on another level. The Lakers just can't play defense, but the Pistons, when they decide to play defense, it's amazing. They're swarming you. They're forcing turnovers. In this game, they forced LeBron to have 5 turnovers. They forced Luka Doncic to have 8 turnovers. To me, that was really crucial in the Lakers losing this game. They also held the Lakers to 45% overall shooting from the field, but they shot 63% from the field, along with the Lakers only shooting 28% from 3. So they were able to get the edge on the Lakers. And also the reason why they shot such a high percentage in this game is because they got so many easy buckets in the paint. The Lakers don't have any rim protectors. I believe the Pistons had like 72 points in the paint. It was some ridiculous stat like that. They were just getting layup, get in the paint. It was insane. So that was a huge factor in this game. And I also want to give credit to the Pistons bench. They really hustled hard in this game. One guy for sure that stood out to me was Marcus Sasser. This guy was hustle from the beginning he entered the game. I think he must have had like a few steals. He had 2 steals. He was just so aggressive, and he had 19 points. That I think he really set the tempo off the bench with his intensity, and the rest of those guys followed suit. And Isaiah Stewart having a good game off the bench with 15, Holland having 11, Jaden Ivey with 9 points. these guys were like the bench mob. They outplayed the Lakers bench by a big margin. When you look at the box scores, Lakers bench had, I'm just doing the math right now, 34 points, while their bench had, let's see here, 55, 58, 66. Yeah, I think their bench had like 68 points, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like I'm just going to calculate 18, 29, 37, 56, 65, 67 points by the Pistons bench. That's insane. So the Pistons bench outscored the Lakers bench 67-34. Their bench killed them, which was pretty big. The other observation I made about this game is that if you're disciplined as a team, eventually the Lakers are going to crack. That the reason they were able to hang in this game for 3 quarters before they got blown out was due to the Pistons committing stupid fouls. They committed a lot of dumb fouls on Luka, a lot of dumb fouls on LeBron, that if they could have just stayed disciplined early on, they would have won this game easily earlier versus just taking it over in the fourth quarter. That if you avoid committing a lot of dumb fouls on Luka, LeBron, you have a good chance of beating the Lakers. You just have to be disciplined about it. If you can do that, you're gonna curb stomp them most likely. Granted, a lot of teams don't have discipline. Luka's a star. He knows how to bait guys into falling into him. But if you can be disciplined, you can definitely beat the Lakers by a good margin. The fourth quarter was really when the game started to change. In the third quarter, the Lakers got within, I think, a point or so, and then the Pistons went on a run to end the third quarter in which they went up by, let me see, I can't remember, I think it was by 8, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking right here. Yep, it was 96-88. The Lakers had gone up by 8 points. And there was a sequence in the fourth quarter which really turned the game around, I felt, in which the Pistons forced just a few turnovers and suddenly the game just got out of control. I'm just trying to look at that sequence right now, find where it happened. Okay, now I remember it. So right at the 8-minute 17 mark, LeBron committed a loose ball foul. That resulted in Jalen Duren hitting a fadeaway turnaround type of jump shot. I remember seeing that play. He hits that shot. They go up by 12. And then Luka Doncic turned the ball over. And that led to Marcus Sasser hitting a three-pointer, which put the Pistons up by 15, 107-92. So there was like a 5-point swing within a minute from 10 to 15 points. And the Lakers after that, they were just cooked. They gave up. The game was pretty much over. So it's interesting with the Lakers, I would say, in this regard, that with JJ Redick, I'm not so sure if they respect him now. Like you saw his desperation on Christmas when they lost, about how he was saying things are going to be different. And a lot of the media bought into the Lakers being back once they beat the Kings, but the Kings are a bad team. So it didn't really show how much JJ's lost his team, but I think he has lost his team where they don't take him seriously and they're kind of just gonna just play out the season, see how it goes, but they're not gonna take him seriously. It's like he has like deaf ears for them in the sense that they don't respect him, and I don't blame them because they know he's LeBron's puppet. He can't really do anything about it. And I can tell these guys don't really like playing with LeBron, that they were much happier when LeBron wasn't playing with them. You could see it in their eyes on the bench, and you could see it especially with Austin Reeves and Huchimara in street clothes when they were just giggling during the game, that they were just, those two guys, I can only imagine, were happy not to play with him, as weird as that sounds. But this team is just tired of LeBron. They don't take JJ seriously. They could still win a good amount of games and get into the playoffs. Obviously, I'm not going to say they're going to miss the playoffs, but it doesn't go well going forward for this team, especially whenever the season ends and they get into playoffs. I just think they're ready to go to Cancun once the playoffs start. They'll be ready to go home and finish it. And and JJ, he's a puppet of LeBron. So even if you get rid of LeBron after the season, in the future, I don't think this team's going to take JJ seriously. That's just one observation I made. Now, when it comes to the Pistons, I have to say Cade Cunningham doesn't get a lot of talk, but you got to put him up there in the MVP talk. Like, I think he's number 2 in assists in the league. And you really saw how dynamic his playmaking was in this game. The Pistons have the best record in the East. He should definitely get more talk for the MVP now that the Pistons are number 1. And you look at in the West, SGA is now the only other guy that can make the case for MVP with Jokic being hurt. It just makes the MVP race more wide open. I would look at Cade as like a dark horse to possibly win the award as the Pistons continue to win games, and he's playing at the high level he's playing at. Just it wouldn't surprise me. So that would be interesting. This game, I would say in conclusion, is just another example of why LeBron should retire, but he won't retire simply because he just can't help it. But he looked like a traffic cone in this game, very old. And I think the only reason people don't say LeBron's washed up is because he can get his counting stats. He can pad his numbers where people think he's not that bad. And they're going to say, like, well, look what he's doing at 41. He dropped in like 17 points. He's still a useful player. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, LeBron is never going to be effective if he's not a number 1 option. And I think in the situation of the Lakers, well, I know in the situation of the Lakers, he's never going to be effective. So he's pretty much useless out there, and he's just going to cause more misery for Laker fans for the rest of the season. Outside of that, I don't really have anything to say other than the Pistons look great, and the Eastern Conference is going to be very interesting come playoff time. I think it will come down to the Pistons and Knicks, and we'll see how that goes.